Today we are showcasing another really simple technique. In particular, we are showcasing the idea of doing monochrome sketching or monochrome watercolours. So we have this scene on the right, which is from Bath. It's a wonderfully contrast-rich scene. We've got deep blacks and bright whites, and that makes it a lot of fun to approach in monochrome. Monochrome, of course, meaning single colour. So first, to get to the single colour part, we just need a really simple sketch. To make my simple sketch, I'm using a soft-nibbed Fude pen by Tombow, and I'm focusing only on the most simple of shapes and outlines. Zooming out, you can see this isn't my only sketch on this piece of paper. No, learning to sketch these simple shapes, these simple outlines, lets you be so experimental and so productive. So this is a number of sketches I did, all one after another, filling up different sheets of paper, trying out different ideas. So just let yourself be really simple. You might find it becomes something you absolutely love doing, and it will certainly help you be productive and get to be more experimental and try out different things. Working my way through the scene, we're almost there. The ideas are building up. Got the simple shapes for the well-lit part. We've got these kind of elements underneath, even a couple of people being added. And I'm just starting to think, do I have enough going on here? Is there enough going on here that I understand the scene? There's a couple of bits we can still work on with our ink. So we can help our colours along, our monochrome along with hatching. Hatching adds an extra sense of darkness. Bold lines, of course, add an extra sense of darkness and they increase the structure. These kind of elements, allowing our ink, which is very quick to become very dark, to be bold, to provide structure and value. It helps our watercolours along the way. It means that the watercolours don't have to do as much heavy lifting and the whole process becomes a little bit quicker and the watercolours can be a bit more expressive. They don't have to lay everything out. Things like this empty space, which was the river, well, still is the river, but is now a bit less empty, can come to life with just a couple of tiny notes of texture. And before you know it, my sketch is done and feeling good, so I can zoom out and start to add the colours. Now I've blurred the other sketch, not because it's naughty, it's just a little picture of Bath's walls. It's half finished and I was using pro markers to do it. But because it's half finished and it's very colourful, and we're going the opposite of colourful here, we're going monochrome, it's a bit distracting, so I just blurred it out. Here, monochrome doesn't actually mean one colour. It means I'm using one pan of paint, but this pan is Moonglow. Now, Moonglow, incredibly lovely, not light fast, so I very rarely use it, and I featured it in a video explaining, unfortunately, why this very lovely colour doesn't come out very often. But if this is an experiment, if this is a quick study, then using something like Moonglow, one of everyone's favourite colours, is a great place to be. And you can see as I lay down my first wash, which is mostly just quite a light, neutralish shade, it's also got elements of red and elements of blue and granularity coming through. That's why Moonglow is very lovely. And this is what we should be aiming to do. You know, in the traditional idea of watercolour painting, we start off with painting the light. And if you are getting into the idea of monochrome painting, if you want to start with something really simple like this, I'd encourage you to think of two principles. Firstly, don't paint everything. Lots of area of white, because within monochrome you have white, that's your paper, and you have everything else, that's your colour. Then start with the light and build up in layers. So you start off with a light painting, you let that settle and dry, and now I've let it not mostly dry, but partially dry. And we can come back in with a smaller brush. And now do you see how we start to build the darkness? Just by layering up with very slightly thicker paint, we suddenly get much darker areas against mid-value layers or mid-tone layers against the white of the page. And that is where we get that real dynamism. So in monochrome sketching, we're not necessarily aiming for something which is perfect. We're not aiming for a black and white version of the scene. You can definitely see those purple, reds and blues coming through in this Moonglow. But what we are aiming for, or at least what I'm aiming for, and what I'd really love to see other people and you guys just experiment with aiming for, is something dynamic, where we have white, where we have the black of ink, and where in between that we allow one or two colours to really have a bit of a play, to be free, to be loose, and to kind of express the ideas of dynamism, the ideas of contrast onto your page. If you enjoyed this, but you want a more structured approach and you want more detail and depth in how you can achieve these kind of little fun projects, come join my free course. Link down below. You might enjoy it even more.